If you want encounters to throw into your D&D 5e games, make sure to check out the sponsor. So you're going to play Curse of Strahd, Part 3, the final part. We're going to talk about Barovia. Now that your players are in Barovia, you should know a few things. Number one, Curse of Strahd has some game-altering rules about Barovia that, try to make the world a little bit better. First of all, a deadly fog surrounds the land of Barovia and engulfs any creature that tries to leave. Ooh, fun! This was set in place by the Dark Powers because this entire realm is its own little demi-plane, and it kind of, makes your players feel trapped because they are and they cannot leave. The fog always magically turns you right around and back to Barovia, and the area is heavily obscured, and if you go into the fog, you have to succeed a DC 20 con save or take a level of exhaustion. There's no escape! And there's also not really sunlight in Barovia. It's more like a big LED in the sky. There's also alterations to magic. It functions differently and creepily in Barovia. For example, Revivify. A creature restored to life by a Revivify spell screams upon regaining consciousness, as though waking up from some horrible nightmare. Or Find the Path. A child's spirit appears and guides the caster to the desired location. The spirit can't be harmed and doesn't speak. It's kind of like the Lubberkin in Witcher, which is pretty freaking cool. And here's the map! Curse of Strahd is the kind of adventure that motivates the players to explore its semi-open world. Each area has new things for the characters to discover. We'll go through each area briefly so that you can get an idea of what's there. Also, there's a random encounter table that are really fun. Please use them. Or you should have saw this coming. You could use out-of-the-box encounters. Out-of-the-box encounters is a book supplement to add to your 5e games that are contained with a bunch of encounters with really great art, minis, and a bunch of other things. And they're very well balanced and written by YouTubers like us. So go late pledge back on this book so that you can get yourself a copy. I have my own encounter in the book, as you very well know, so make sure to go check it out. All right, let's get into the map. This thing's huge, and we're gonna try to explain each area as best as possible. These are all the different areas that your players will be going to, and I'm gonna try my best to tell you what each one is. All right, here we go. The Old Svalich Road. It's the road. Mainly the main road. What? That's what it is. The Gates of Barovia. This is the big old gates that seal the players in Barovia in the first place. They have headless statues and are a great introduction into the world. Svalich Woods. These are any area of woods in Barovia, and they almost always have dangers. I always imagine they have these gnarled branches, or you can check out this art by James RPG Art. Go check him out on Patreon! River Ivlis. It's a river. Village of Barovia. The village of Barovia is a sad, muddy crap hole. Directly underneath Castle Ravenloft, it feels Strahd's oppression like no other place. There's a couple of quests the characters can pick up here. Finding Mad Mary's daughter, saving or killing the priest's son Doru, or Irina and Ismark who need sanctuary from Strahd. There's also a great NPC in Bildrith's Mercantile, the guard. His name is Periwimple. Highly recommend your players meet up with him. In terms of the quests that the players will gather in the village of Barovia, Mad Mary's daughter can be found in Castle Ravenloft, which is quite a ways away from one of the starting quests that they may get. It was why I think the players should start on the other side of the map. There's also saving or killing the priest's son Doru. The priest in the church has a son, his name is Doru, who went off to go fight Strahd but was transformed into a vampire spawn when he returned back to the village. So the priest has been praying for him. His voice is coarse and rough, and his son just begs and begs to be set free or food. It's a really tough choice that the players will have to make and is a great introduction into the world. However, they can't really do much about Doru, as the only way to save him is to cast a remove curse, as far as I'm aware. Other than killing him, this ends up just being a pretty sad, depressing moment for the players that kind of just feels hopeless, which I guess is kind of the entire theme of Curse of Strahd is hopelessness, and that the players are the hope that are going to save it from everything else. Irina and Ismark need sanctuary from Strahd. As we've explained before, Irina is the reincarnation, sort of Tatiana, and Strahd wants to do everything in his power to not capture her, but seduce her. But if he can't seduce her, then capture her and turn into a vampire spawn, because he's a fucked up guy. River Ivlis Crossroads. This crossroad gives the players some directions on where to go. They'll also always have an encounter here, so you can roll on those. And not all of the encounters in Curse of Strahd are fights. Some of them are just creepy, strange things that happen to them that don't necessarily require them to roll initiative. The best part about the crossroads is that when they leave, a corpse of one of the players hangs from the gallows, and stares at them with their dead eyes. Pretty creepy. Sarah Pool Encampment. This is where the players will encounter the Vistani and Madame Eva, a fortune teller. If you can get it, the game has a Taraka deck, kind of like a tarot deck, where you can have Madame Eva perform a reading for the players. The book describes how to do it and what to tell the players, and it will give them some clues on finding the Icon of Ravenloft, the Sun Sword, and the Tome of Strahd. The Sun Sword has Sergei's soul in it, so it's pretty cool. These magic items that are needed in order to defeat Strahd. It also gives them an ally that will travel with them and the location of Strahd in his castle. Pretty fun and one of my favorite parts of this game. However, I highly recommend that you do not do the ally. I suggest that Madame Eva gives them all of the cards for the allies and the players gather up all of the allies they can possibly get in the game as some big army to go defeat Strahd. It was really fun when we did it on Arcane Arcade, and I think it makes for a really compelling climax to Curse of Strahd. Also, they get to do all the side quests for all the really cool NPCs in this game. Stair falls. Don't fall down these stairs. It's a big bridge on a waterfall. Black carriage. There's a black carriage on the road with no driver. The players get in it. It drives them up to the gates of Ravenloft. This is the gate and the drawbridge that leads to Castle Ravenloft. This big-ass fucking castle is extensive. They really took their effort to put as much details as possible into this castle. So much so that when I ran the adventure, I found someone who had made the layout of it in Minecraft, and then I decorated all the rooms so I would know where everything is. In any case, I can't rightly explain the entirety of this castle in this video. So I'll put it simply. There are 6 main floors and a tower. In this tower is a giant beating heart that acts as extra hit points for Strahd. In the basement crypt levels are a bunch of tombs that have goodies and traps in them. There's a confusing elevator trap in the middle of the castle. It's basically a counterweight elevator puzzle. NPCs are all over this thing, like Piddlewick 2, Rahadin, Strahd's butler, Leaf Lip Siege, Strahd's accountant, Esker, Cyrus, Gertruda, and some witches. Traps are all over the lower levels, and there's a big organ room where Strahd introduces himself and has dinner with the party. Behind which, the organ has like a secret room, there's a room full of mirrors. Strahd took all the mirrors down because he's a vampire. I love the attention to detail. Regardless, Castle Ravenloft should be played like Strahd. It is not the big final boss dungeon. It's a character and an area of Barovia that should be visited multiple times, like saving Gertruda for Mad Mary, or recovering the bones of Argynvost for Argynvostold. Yes, there's a possibility they'll encounter Strahd, but he's too busy moping and not caring and listening to MCR to really mind if some assholes break into his big-ass fucking castle. Lake Zarovich. This is the lake outside of Vallaki, and has a quest involving a drunk crazy man drowning a Vistani girl to please the lake for his fishing god. Okay! Mad Mage of Mount Baratak. How do I put this lightly? Mordenkainen is in the game. He went crazy and likes to run around as a deer because he fought Strahd and lost. I'm not making this up. Town of Vallaki. Vallaki is another area of the game that the players can get quite lost in. There's many events involving a loose tiger, sad parades, attacking vampire spawn, and the political drama that makes this an interesting center point for the campaign. There's lots of stuff to do and people to meet, so don't be afraid to slow down your game and have the characters explore Vallaki a bit. Rudolf van Richten is hiding out here, and if the players can find him, he can offer some insight on defeating Strahd. Also, there's a creepy family that led to one of the most awful and amazing NPCs that I ever RP'd. And as soon as you begin to do that, you hear meow. It is not a cat. It is a person saying meow. It sounds like a female voice going meow, meow, meow.
That's Lee.
Meow. Kitty wants to play. Meow, meow.
What the fuck?
Let's kill Jacob, so we never have to hear them again.
South of Vallaki is a camp where a bunch of Vistani hang out, along with the last of the Dusk Elves, a lost race of elves that Strahd killed all the women in, and are letting the men just die out. There's an NPC there named Casimir who has a really cool side quest about going to the Ember Temple to revive his sister who was a once bride of Strahd. Old Bone Grinder. A windmill filled with children corpses that 3 old hag ladies have been cooking into pastries and selling to the public. Oh boy! Yay! This encounter is pretty nasty for a low-level party, so be sure to properly warn them of the supposed danger before they go guns blazing to kill some child cookers. They will die. Watch my video. They will die. Luna River Crossroads. Another crossroad to help navigation. Argynvostold. So in Barovia, there was a resistance to stop Strahd. Oh yeah. Barovia's been around for a while. A lot of people have tried to stop STRAHD. And a group of paladins that served a silver dragon named Argynvost. They believed in good, honor, and that under their dragon lord, they would prevail and stop STRAHD from his villainy. STRAHD killed Argynvost and most of the paladins, scattered the dragon bones, and hung the skull up in his house as a decoration. So now their old manor is filled with sad, defeated, angry revenants who only want freedom and the destruction of STRAHD. I love this narrative because even the good guys have been broken and turned misguided in Barovia. If the players bring back the Skull of Argynvost, it frees the souls of the Order, and a beacon shines throughout all of Barovia, granting the players a sweet, sweet bonus. This was one of the high moments when we ran Curse of STRAHD. Logan and I got a little emotional when it happened. It was great. Love this part. Raven River Crossroads. Another crossroads signpost! Village of Kretsk. Kretsk is a village on the edge of Barovia. It's kind of a safe haven in comparison to all the other areas of Barovia. They guard their walls and their people are kind and helpful. However, that doesn't mean it's perfect. The burgomaster's children have all died from some form of disease. There's a fountain where Irina can get pulled in by Sergei's ghost and be gone from STRAHD forever. I don't like this ending for her. I much prefer the true ending to the game. When I ran it, I changed it to where the pool was a trick from STRAHD and she went directly into his grasp. And an abbey with mongrel folk. Half human, half animal abominations, all created by the misguided abbot, who is an angel sent down to kill STRAHD but failed and went crazy! This is also where the players can encounter Esmeralda, a Vistani woman who studied under Van Richten and became a vampire hunter. She's got a great backstory that you should totally go read. Solenka Pass. Up in the mountains is a bridge with a glowing green fiery gate. It's quite mysterious and no one really knows what it's for. Regardless, the players can find their way around it if they want. And they'll receive warnings. Continuing up this road is dangerous, and beware. A figure of STRAHD appears on a bridge. Go no further. The vampire does not want you to discover his secrets. Also that a big fucking bird shows up and tries to kill all of them. Ruins of Berez. These muddy ruins are home to scarecrows and Baba Yaga, Baba Lysaga herself, and her house with chicken feet. Yep. Baba Lysaga is kind of the entire reason STRAHD is evil. She believes herself to be the mother of STRAHD and is pretty fucked up. She has one of the seeds that the Wizards of Wine need for their vineyard, Van Richten's Tower. This booby-trapped tower is nothing more than that, a booby-trapped tower. For whatever reason, the book decided that Van Richten returns to his tower after his quest is completed in Vallaki, the one with the tiger. But there's nothing here that specifies what he does when he returns back to his rundown, broken-ass booby-trapped tower. I don't get it, but there's a cool door, the Wizards of Wines. A vineyard that supplied Barovians with wine, one of the only good things in Barovia. Unfortunately, there's sadness because this is Barovia and all the fun died years ago. Their magic seeds that grow their grapes have been stolen by crazy tree people and others. Also, their vineyard was taken over by tree people. Also, the wine people are were-ravens, the Amber Temple. The center of all the dark powers and one of the most dangerous places for the players to go. The Amber Temple is a frozen, forgotten dungeon of mystery, guarded only by golems, a lich whose mind has been lost, and a Yugoloth. In its depths lie amber coffins that grant boons to anyone willing, but beware, with boons comes a curse. Deadass a player can make a deal with the dark powers like STRAHD did and become a fucking vampire. This adventure is so good. Yester Hill. Oh, this is where the crazy tree people are building their giant walking tree that's gonna stomp on the were-raven's house. Also, a bleeding cursed Golthias tree, because vampires. Werewolf Den. Of course, you can't have vampires without werewolves. This misfit group live in a cave on the outskirts of Barovia and terrorize anyone who dares cross them. They are loyal to STRAHD, but have had a bit of a power struggle when some of the werewolf leaders didn't agree on making kids kill each other. So, he sold one out and is in Castle Ravenloft, and you can find him and have him redeem all the werewolves. Yep. Well, there you go. There's all of the locations and the entire map of Barovia in a 15-minute video nutshell. And while I would love to go ahead and explain the story of Curse of STRAHD, there kind of isn't one to explain. The entirety of this game is based on what your players will do and the decisions and choices they will make that will change Barovia for the future. Or not change it. Hopefully they don't get completely TPK'd by STRAHD and they bring a lot of hope to Barovia. In any case, I guess that's how to play Curse of STRAHD.